Welcome back to another biometrics integration episode. Today I am going to show you a biometric integration demo that I carried out using the HID DigitalPersona 4500 fingerprint scanner. Before we begin, I would like to inform you that I am going to take you through 3 possible scenarios that could present themselves when one is running this Python biometric application that I developed. The first scenario is where I run the application without the HID DigitalPersona 4500 fingerprint scanner being connected to the computer. In the second scenario is where I will connect the HID DigitalPersona 4500 fingerprint scanner to the computer and then run the Python biometric application, but at the point where the application prompts me to present a finger on the scanner, I will not do so. In the third scenario is where I will have the HID DigitalPersona 4500 fingerprint scanner connected to the computer, and when I run the Python biometric application, at the point at which I am prompted to present a finger for scanning, I will run my left index finger on the biometric scanner for a biometric fingerprint image to be captured, and after the fingerprint image has been captured, a fingerprint template will be extracted from the captured fingerprint image. To start us off with, I am now going to click on the PyCharm IDE icon on the taskbar. Let us do that right away. Here is the PyCharm IDE icon. PyCharm IDE has opened and has displayed a list of the previous Python projects that I've been working on in the past. As you can see, I have been able to do a Python biometric integration using the Aratec S600 fingerprint scanner in the past. I have also done a Python biometric integration using the ZK-Teco 4500 fingerprint scanner in the past. Today, like I mentioned earlier, I am going to showcase to you a Python biometric integration that I carried out using the HID DigitalPersona 4500 fingerprint scanner. Here it is. I'm going to click on this project to open it. There it goes. These are the libraries that I will need for this application, and then this bit here is for some beeps to help the user understand what is happening to the application. So you'll be able to hear the beeps while I run the application for the first scenario, the second scenario, and for the third scenario. Let us start with the first scenario where I run the Python biometric application without the HID DigitalPersona 4500 fingerprint scanner being connected to the computer. Let me confirm that I do not have it connected to my computer. Yeah, it is not connected. Now I am going to click run. Observe what happens. This is the console. Yeah, you heard that beep. That beep was as a result of this bit here, where we receive this message: no HID DigitalPersona scanner device is connected to this computer, and thereafter the application proceeded to exit. So basically that is what transpired during the first scenario. The application could not proceed any further beyond step 2 because there is no fingerprint scanner that is connected to the computer, and thereafter the Python biometric application exited. Let me now close the console so that I showcase to you scenario 2. Remember, in scenario 2 I am going to run the Python biometric application with the fingerprint scanner being connected to the computer, but when prompted to capture a fingerprint image, I will not present my finger on the biometric scanner. So what I'm doing right now is connecting the USB cable of the biometric scanner to my computer. Let us do that right now. So you have plugged in the HID DigitalPersona 4500 fingerprint scanner to the USB port of my computer. I will now proceed and click run. Observe what happens. There was that beep because of this step here, that is step 4, capture fingerprint image, and then we are being told the application is requesting us to present a finger on scanner to capture fingerprint image, but we won't do so. When we had those 2 beeps, was the application running all the way to completion and exiting after returning this message here: finger not presented on HID DigitalPersona scanner for capture. So the application could not proceed to step 5, and what it actually did is that from step 4 it skipped all the way to step 7 to close the fingerprint scanner, and then concluded by running step 8, where it de-initialized the API of the HID DigitalPersona 4500 fingerprint scanner. So that is what happened in scenario 2 after I failed to present my finger on the biometric scanner for fingerprint capture. So basically fingerprint capture did not happen in scenario 2 because I did not place my left index finger on the biometric scanner when I was prompted to do so at step 4. Let us close the console. We are back to the PyCharm IDE. Let us run Python biometric application again so that we can observe what happens in scenario 3. Remember, in scenario 3 I have the fingerprint scanner connected via the USB port of my computer, and when prompted to present a finger for fingerprint scanning during the biometric capture step, that is in step 4, I am going to present my left index finger on the HID DigitalPersona 4500 fingerprint scanner for fingerprint image capture. Let me now click run again. Observe what happens. Yeah, that beep was as a result of the application reaching step 4 and it prompting us to present a finger on the scanner. So I'm going to present my left index on the fingerprint scanner. Observe what happens. There goes my captured fingerprint image. Here it is. Here is the captured fingerprint image, and the application also went ahead and extracted a fingerprint template, and here is the extracted fingerprint template. So basically those are the 3 scenarios that I wanted to show you, and right now I am going to take you to the PyCharm IDE so that I can show you the code, the Python code behind this setup. So something that I need to point out is that I grouped my work into 8 steps. The first step is where I initialize the HID DigitalPersona API. The second step is where I get the count of the connected HID DigitalPersona scanner devices. In the third step is where I open the selected HID DigitalPersona scanner device. In the fourth step is where I capture the fingerprint image. In the fifth step is where I display the captured fingerprint image. In the sixth step is where I extract and display the fingerprint template from the captured fingerprint image. In the seventh step is where I close the HID DigitalPersona scanner device. And lastly, in step 8 is where I de-initialize the HID DigitalPersona API before exiting the application. Okay, let me minimize the console so that I can take you through the code from the PyCharm IDE so that I am able to show you the code behind every one of these 8 steps that I've been able to show you. So we will start with step 1. I show you how I initialize the HID DigitalPersona API. I have this main function. Oh, by the way, I had already showed you these 4 functions here. These are for the beep sounds that you are hearing in scenario 1, scenario 2, and scenario 3. I have this main function here that I call here to get the application started. So let me take you to the top so that we start with step 1. Here is step 1, where I initialize the HID DigitalPersona API. To initialize the API, I call this function here. But there I have this helper function here, this one here. So when I call initialize, this is the function that I am calling. If initialize was successful, this is the message that is returned: initializing HID DigitalPersona API successful. Let me take you to the console so that you can see that bit here. So in step 1, when you are doing initialization, if successful, of which we were successful, this is the message that you are getting: initializing HID DigitalPersona API successful. Let me now take you to step 2. Here is our step 2. In step 2 is where we get the count of connected HID DigitalPersona scanner devices. So to do that, we are calling this function here, function get connected devices. Here it is, function get connected devices from the helper, from my helper class here. You can see this is the function that we are calling from the main here to get the count of connected HID DigitalPersona scanner devices. By the way, if the connected HID DigitalPersona scanner devices are more than one, if there are more than one, I request the user to select the particular one that they want to use. If it is just one, we just go ahead and use that particular HID DigitalPersona scanner device that is connected to the computer. Otherwise, if it is just 0, if there is no HID DigitalPersona scanner device that is connected to the computer, the application actually exits at that point. That is what is happening at this bit here. So in scenario 1, this is the code that the Python biometric application was able to execute. Otherwise, in scenario 2 and in scenario 3, where there was only one HID DigitalPersona scanner device that was connected to the computer, this is the bit of code that executed. Now that I've been able to take you through step 2, let me now take you to step 3, where we open the selected HID DigitalPersona scanner device. So this is what happens here. So before you are able to use an HID DigitalPersona scanner for fingerprint capture, you need to open it so that your API can be able to interact with it. So that is what is happening here. We are calling this function here, fn open DigitalPersona, and then we pass the name of the selected DigitalPersona scanner device. So to get the name of the selected DigitalPersona device, we needed to loop through the devices from the function that we called in step 2 for getting connected devices. We loop through that and then we get this device name here. Where is the name? the device, sorry, yeah, we loop through this bit here, and then we pass that device name, this one, the device name, that one. So with our device name, we pass it to this function here. This function here, we pass the device name. But this function here, you can let me show you this function here. That is the FN Open Digital Persona from our helper class here. Here it is. So we pass the device name so that you can be able to open the fingerprint scanner and be able to use it for fingerprint capture. Let me take you to the console so that I show you step 3. So this is what happened in step 3, where we open the selected HID Digital Persona Scanner device. So, and if it's successful, in our case we were successful, we received this message here, that is HID Digital Persona successfully opened. So that's it for step 3. Let me take you to step 4, where I will show you how I was able to capture a fingerprint image. So scroll down here, we come here to step 4. In step 4, we are calling this function here, that is the FN capture. Let me take you to the helper class so that you can see it. Here it is. Here is the FN capture. So once the finger capture is successful, we will be able to return the width of the captured image, the height, the resolution, the quality, and the score. So we will need the width and the height to be able to display the captured fingerprint image. I will also need the image, by the way, the image data. So let me take you to the console to show you the output from step 4, that is after fingerprint capture. So in step 4 here, where we are doing capture fingerprint image, you can see that here is where the application was prompting us to present a finger on the scanner. And then once we present our finger on the scanner, we received this message here, that is fingerprint image was successful, and then it proceeded to show us the height in form of pixels as 392, the width as 357, and the resolution as 500. So that's it for step 4, where we are doing fingerprint capture. Let me take you to step 5, where we display the captured fingerprint image. So back to PyCharm IDE, then you scroll down to step 5. Here is the bit for step 5, where we are displaying the captured fingerprint image. So here, initially I was doing it this way. Let me show you. I was calling this function straight away, that is the FN fingerprint image display. But then here it is from the helper function. Here it is FN fingerprint image display function, where I'm passing the image data, the image height, and the image width. Remember, we are getting the image width, the image height, and the image raw, that is the image data, from the output of the FN capture function. So before we even proceed to display the fingerprint image, we first need to call the FN capture so that we can capture the fingerprint image, and once we retrieve it, we pass the raw data of the fingerprint image into FN fingerprint image display together with the image height and the image width for purposes of displaying the image. So for us to be able to display it this way, remember from our code here, let me show you here. From our code here, from the console here, so we needed to pass this, pass the height, pass the width and the image data, so that into the function for display, so that it can display this image for us. Okay, so let us go back to the main.py file. I think I've been able to take you through. Oh yeah, this is what I was explaining earlier. So initially this is what I was having, but then I realized if the image is displayed, the code does not run all the way to completion, because this bit here, the opened image here, until you close it, where is it? Until you close it, the code was not proceeding past this bit here. It was getting stuck here, so it wasn't showing step 6 all the way to, it wasn't running and all the way to the end until I closed the displayed fingerprint image. So to circumvent that, I decided to put the bit for running, for displaying the fingerprint image in a thread. So that is why I came up with this thread here, this bit here, and this is how I'm calling the fingerprint image display instead of how I was calling it here. So I'm calling it inside the thread here, and then I pass the arguments that I pass these arguments here for the image data, the image height, and the, sorry, I need to scroll all the way to the right to show you this bit. Yeah, the arguments for the image data, the height, and the width. So this is how I'm doing it here inside the thread. So here are the arguments that I'm passing, and this bit here is the one that prevents the code from blocking the execution of the code that comes after this bit here, that is after this bit here. So I commented out this bit here, and decided to have everything for fingerprint image display in this thread. So that's it for step 5 for displaying fingerprint image. Have I shown you that bit from the console? Yeah, in step 5, this is what was being displayed in the console, and then if the image is successfully displayed, we get this message here: displayed fingerprint image successfully. Let us now move to step 6, where I will show you the code for extracting the fingerprint template. Where is our step 6? And I'm just scrolling past. Oh yeah, here it is. So this is where we are doing, this is the section for fingerprint template extraction. Let me scroll. Should I just push this bit to the left? Yeah, like that. So to be able to do fingerprint template extraction, we need to call this function here. That is the fn finger template reg. Let me take you to the helper function so that I show you that function. Here it is, fn finger template reg. So for us to be able to call this function for template extraction, we need to pass the image data that we received from the FN capture function. As you can already see, two functions require the fingerprint image data, that is the function for displaying the fingerprint image as well as the function for template extraction. Let me take you back to the main function. So once we call the FN finger template reg, if it was successful, we will be able to receive this message here, that is fingerprint template extracted successfully, and then the bytes, the fingerprint template data, we base64 encode it before printing it as a string. Otherwise we would have some jumbled characters on the screens, but instead of just outputting the bytes, I chose to first base64 encode them into, what do you call it, the UTF-8, this one here, before printing it to a string. Here is where I was printing it. Okay, let me take you to the console so that you can be able to see what I did. So this is our step 6 here, where we are extracting and displaying fingerprint template from the captured fingerprint image. And this is the message we got because the process was successful. And here is our extracted fingerprint template. So we could actually call it the hash code of the captured fingerprint image template. So here it is. Let me take you back to the PyCharm IDE. Where is our step 7, where we close the fingerprint scanner because we are done with the capturing fingerprint image. For us to be able to close fingerprint scanner, we call this function here, that is FN close digital persona. Let me take you to my helper function here to show you the FN close. Here it is. This is the function that we are calling, FN close digital persona. Back to main. If it is successful, I will return this message for the user, that is HID DigitalPersona device closed successfully. There could be other reasons that could interfere with the closing of the fingerprint scanner, and I've captured them here. E.g., if we have a failure, then I return this message, HID DigitalPersona device close failed. If the device is busy, I return this message here, HID DigitalPersona device is currently busy with another function. If there was a device failure during the closure of the HID DigitalPersona, I return this message, HID DigitalPersona device failed to close properly. I want to scroll to the right, but yeah. And if we pass an invalid parameter was passed, we say no HID DigitalPersona device with this name was found. So maybe in the scenario, I mean in a situation where you have several fingerprint scanners connected to your computer, and then you attempt to close the wrong one, or maybe you pass a wrong device name, this is the message that you will receive for passing an invalid parameter, that is no HID DigitalPersona device with that name was found. I will need to take you to the console to show you step 7. Step 7 here. This is what we were shown in the console during that step, and because our device successfully closed, we received this message, HID DigitalPersona device closed successfully. Now on to the last step, that is step 8. In step 8 is where we free up the allocated resources by the HID DigitalPersona API. Remember, to run this application, at the very beginning we needed to initialize the HID DigitalPersona API. So in a similar manner, before we exit the application, we need to de-initialize the HID DigitalPersona API, and that is what we are doing in step 8. So in step 8, we are calling this function here, that is fn, that is function de-initialize DigitalPersona. So if I take you to my helper function here, I want to show you that de-initialize function here. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. Here's our function here, the fn de-initialize DigitalPersona. So once we call that de-initialize persona function, all the allocated resources by the API are freed. That is the handle to the device, the memory allocation that was done by the API in the background is released. And then after that, the application exits. So the application could run all the way to completion and exit, but then I had to put this bit here, that is os.system, and then I pass the pause command so that after it runs all the way to completion, it doesn't close the console automatically. So it gets stuck here. Not necessarily get stuck, but it displays this message: press any key to continue. So this one here is as a result of me having this bit in my code here, just right after calling the main function. So this one prevents the console from closing immediately after it runs all the way to completion. And that brings us to the end of this Python biometric integration demo that I carried out using the HID DigitalPersona 4500 fingerprint scanner. Let me know if you have any questions for me. If you need help with your Python biometric integration, you could reach out to me on the contacts that I have provided in the pinned comment of this video or in the description of the video. Otherwise, thank you for staying all the way to the end. See you in the next one.